Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm one of the communications assistants for the international department, and I'm here with Maggie to talk about the Buenos Aires program. Maggie, would you introduce yourself for us?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Maggie Fitzgerald. I'm Center Director for CEA in Buenos Aires.
And then can you just start off giving like a quick summary of the CEA Buenos Aires programs and kind of what they entail?
Roughly, I would say that the programs in Buenos Aires can be taken with us at our study center. We do have a study center in Buenos Aires, or with partner universities, or hybrid. So you may take some courses at partner universities and some courses without, depending on the program. You can check all our programs in the web so that I don't expand too much on these, but I would like to emphasize that we do have programs related to business, programs related to engineering, and programs related to liberal arts and social studies mainly. And we also have the internship program in Buenos Aires.
So there are a lot of Mizzou students that kind of express concern about their level of Spanish before going abroad and if they're advanced enough. Could you kind of talk about the level of Spanish a student would need to participate in this program?
Most of our courses are dictated in English. So there's no need for students to know Spanish. Of course, when you choose a Spanish-speaking destination, it's because probably you have some Spanish to practice. So we do have English courses, of different levels. We do an early start with very basic English, very basic Spanish learning, and then we have an intermediate one. The only requirement for an advanced level of Spanish is to do the internship program, because students are placed within local companies, and even if people here would be able to speak English, in most cases, sometimes it's harder to do it without knowing the local language. So that's the only one that requires really. But you cannot speak Spanish and do any of our programs anyway.
That's perfect. So basically any Mizzou student who is interested and just wants to go can go, or if you're at the Spanish 2100 or 2160 level, which are some of our beginner to intermediate, that would be great too for the internship as well. So that's really awesome. Can you talk a little bit about specific classes that students like to take, or which ones are really popular?
Everything related to the local culture is normally very popular among students. One of the most popular is the food and wine, the culture of food and wine in Argentina. There's a big culture of food and wine. Buenos Aires is a very foodie city. It's related to the immigration and the kind of landscapes we have and the industries and the agriculture. So it's super interesting, and it's also interesting because students will go out to taste the different kinds of foods and see markets or restaurants and the different kinds of cuisine around the country. So that's a very popular one. I would say that 90% of students enroll in that course. And then another very popular one is Culture and Civilization of Latin America, which is very interesting. And another one that is called Gender and Body Politics, which also has to do with these most recently developed movements and how the society deals with those. And so that's very interesting.
That's really awesome that you have so many classes in so many different areas, so many students, depending on like if you're a women and gender study major or business major, really anyone can find something to learn about, which is awesome. And then how many students are there typically at your center? And is there a cap on how many students can come?
These have been weird years, no? The recent years. But normally we would have like 30 to 50 students per semester in Buenos Aires with the different programs. So there might be groups of classes of, 12, classes of 6, classes of a bit more than 12. So it depends on the courses that are being taken.
Yeah, definitely.
See, that's the regular number. So some of them may be placed here at the study center, some in other partner university, but then we do all the activities and excursions all together. So even if you are only at the study center, so it's a group of CEA students here. You'll meet all of them.
That's awesome. And then you mentioned the excursions. Can you kind of talk about what excursions this program entails and what are some of the places that students like to visit in their free time?
The favorite excursion is the Iguazu Falls. Iguazu Falls, it's up north from the country, and it's a World Heritage Site. So it is an amazing 2-night trip. And that's like a beautiful bonding opportunity in an amazing and unique landscape. So that's one of the favorites. Then we do many others. We go to Uruguay, to Colonia in Uruguay, which is a very colonial city. We take the boat and go there. We go to Tigre, to the Delta area. It is like 50 minutes away from the city, and it's a completely different landscape too. We may go sometimes, depending on the program and the term, right? But we may go to a estancia, to a ranch, and see like the story of the gauchos and the horses, and maybe a polo clinic or a polo train. Polo is our national sport, so it's very big here. So these kind of big excursions. And then we have many activities throughout the term that include like a mate tasting. Do you know mate?
Oh, no, what is that?
This is a typical beverage that everyone drinks here. It comes from the gauchos. The gauchos are like the cowboys, like the people from the countryside. And it takes some herbs, which is called yerba mate. And you would normally pour, you have the mate cup, a straw, and you would normally pour hot water, not that hot, it's warm hot, and then you drink it.
Wow, that's
and
awesome.
Mate, it's a very local tradition. It's something that we normally share among friends, or it's company when you study or when you work. So it's like tea, it's similar to tea, but you drink it and you pour it and you drink it. So it's longer than tea.
I'm a big foodie myself, and you kind of mentioned this earlier. Can you talk about like the cuisine in Buenos Aires and kind of the food that students typically like to eat there?
Buenos Aires is a very diverse city. Buenos Aires like really grew with the immigration, with different waves of immigration. And so since the very foundation of the city, we have a very diverse population. Like Argentinians are related to people somewhere else always. We, in this variety, we have a very strong influence of Italian. 60% of the immigration was Italian, so it's a big influence. So the diet and the food comes from the Italian too. French, which there's also a lot of influence, but not only in food, but in architecture, in the layout of parks. So there are places of the city that look very much like France. So it is very interesting. From that immigration and that openness to every culture is where we have this foodie characteristic, which is reflected. So if you go, there are specific neighborhoods, of course, with food, with many restaurants, and you may find there, like from Italian to a lot of meat-based foods or meals, which are like, we call the parrillas, like places to go for a barbecue, the parrillas. And then there are plenty of them because the meat here is amazing. And then you can find Peruvian, Japanese, Korean, Venezuelan, like food from every part of the world, or fusions. So it's very interesting. And there are many bars and restaurants.
That's amazing that there's such a blend of cultures and you can try such a wide variety of foods. That's really awesome. A lot of times students haven't really gone abroad before. This might be their first time away from family. Could you talk about some of the types of on-site supports that students have through this program?
Well, we have our study center, which is like a meeting spot. We operate here. So even if students are not having courses, they're always welcome. They may bring some pastries, or we may share some mate or something and just talk, or sometimes they come to do their homeworks or projects. So there's space, there's working space, there's a lounge where we can just hang out and chat. Or we are the network for students abroad. So we are there and we let you decide how much to need us or not. No? Mm-hmm. So we do have a 24/7 emergency phone in case something happens. And Argentinians in general are very open and friendly. I think even when they go to homestays, they feel welcome and well treated. So that's something very nice and that I always hear from students.
I kind of reminds me of how Mizzou has our student center, where we have like a lot of different resources and places to gather and kind of meet people. And that's been a great resource here. So that's really cool that you guys also have that.
We have an email for regular info. We do best friends on Instagram, depending on the group, or a WhatsApp group with the on-site students, so that we can reminder of excursions or activities. So it's a very fluid communication, and we are always there as much as you need us.
Mizzou Study Abroad office is also really excited to send students to Argentina this spring, but COVID is still obviously a concern for many. Can you talk a little bit about how Buenos Aires is combating the COVID crisis right now?
Buenos Aires is always with a lag from Europe. So when everything started in Europe, we took like 1 more month to get started here. At the moment, the cases are really stable and going down, so it's not too bad. The good thing is that in September, we started our spring. It's easier, no? So when you are outside and you don't have to be like in winter, it's a worse season for viruses and stuff. So that's a positive thing. And we are opening our portals on November 1st. So we are going to run our spring program, fortunately, after a year and a half. So we are so excited for that.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, or any final words you have about the program?
There's a video online which you can search on YouTube that is called Argentina is Diversity. I would recommend every student to have a look at it. It's 2-3 minutes, but it gives you a big picture of what Argentina looks like. Because what I hear from students always is like, wow, it's super different to what I expected. So that's why I would like to recommend to students, and of course encourage you to come to this part of the world. You will not regret it.
Of course, that is a great resource. And as always, you can reach out to the Mizzou Study Abroad office or the International Department if you have any questions, or look online to learn more about this program. I want to thank you so much, Maggie, for talking with me today. I really appreciate you answering all my questions.
Well, thank you.